Welcome to Hebrew School from Homeschooling Torah. My name is Ann Elliott. This is Lesson 1, and today we're going to learn all about Hebrew syllables. First of all, what is a syllable? Now I'm going to teach you what a syllable is by showing you in English because I'm pretty sure you know English. So there are two kinds of syllables. We call them open and closed. It's not very difficult. First, I guess I better teach you one thing about a syllable. A syllable is something that has only one vowel sound. Now your vowels in English are A, E, I, O, and U, and sometimes Y, okay? A, E, I, O, and U make some sounds like A, E, I, O, U. Now they can make other sounds as well. We won't go into that because we're not learning English today. But a open syllable has one of these vowels or the vowel sound at the end of the syllable. So here are some easy words that you might know. So he, she, me, let's do a different vowel. Go, so, how about hi? So those are all, in fact, just the word I is an open syllable. And so the vowel sound comes at the end of the syllable. Now let me erase some of those real quick. And let's talk about closed syllables. Closed syllables have a consonant at the end. So let me think of hat. Now these are using some different vowel sounds like a, but either way, whatever vowel sound is there, there's a consonant at the end that closes it. So when you say a consonant like hat, it kind of makes a sound that closes it. Let me think of another word, lots of words. Bill, tap, hen, up. See, that one only has two letters, but it's closed by a consonant at the end. So those are your two kinds of syllables in English. Now, let's look and see what kinds of syllables we have in Hebrew. Where's my eraser? Okay, we have exactly the same kind. So this is not hard. We're going to start by learning the open ones because they're just super easy. So let me just teach you 3 consonants today. We're going to learn those consonants and then apply it. And then next week we're going to start learning the alphabet. So the first consonant I'm going to teach you is sheen. And sheen has a little dot over here. And we're going to just not worry about that right now. We'll talk about that when we come back to it later when we're learning the alphabet. But the sheen has the sound of sh, like sh, okay? And when I see that dot on that side, we always read, by the way, Hebrew reads this way. So we're coming this way. You see that dot first. And when I see that, I remember to go sh. So that's how I do it. Okay, let me do another one. How about, okay, this is a b sound in Hebrew. And whenever I see that dot, we call that dot, by the way, a dagesh. And when we see that dagesh in the middle of the bait, we say b. Now that dot there reminds me to make a dot with my lips, like b. So, sh, b, okay? And then I'm going to teach you one more. This is the last letter in the Hebrew alphabet. And this one says t. Now often it has a dagesh as well, but we're not going to necessarily do that right now. I'm going to teach you about those later. But this one says t. I'll write that down there. Can you think of any Hebrew words that have those consonants in it? I can think of one. Shbat. Oh, can you think of it? Shabbat, right? So now let's talk about the kinds of ways that we make a syllable in Hebrew. We've got our consonants. What are we missing? In order to make a syllable, we need vowels. I'm not going to teach you all of the Hebrew vowels today. We're just going to teach you basically one, but there's 2 of them, and they make similar sounds. So the first one is a kamatz, and I'm going to write that here. It looks like a little T, okay? Kamatz. Now, there's another one that says, well, I should tell you the sound. Kamatz says ah. There's another vowel that says pretty close to the same sound, and it just looks like the top of the T. And I remember it because they look so similar. And this one says ah. Now, if you want to get technical, there are people in Hebrew, like English, has a lot of different ways to say things. Like you might say dog or dog or dog or God or God. And it's kind of like that in Hebrew. In fact, let's just use the word God. Some people, especially in, let's say, Pennsylvania, would say God. So that's kind of how the difference is on these two. This one would be God, and this one would be God. So if you really want to think of it, this one could also be like Father, and this one could be like dot. It's all, if you would like, you can say them both ah, and that will make it easier on you. So the T and the sort of looking like a T both say ah. So let's try to make a syllable. Where did I put my eraser? So in English, I want you to see something. I'm going to use the word me. We put the consonant followed by the vowel, me. In Hebrew, we put the consonant, I'm going to put a sheen. I'm going to follow it by a vowel, but it's going to be underneath. Do you see the difference? So Hebrew, we read this direction, but our consonants and our vowels go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. So an open syllable has the consonant and then a vowel underneath it. So Shah. Now let's try another one. Let's try Shabbat. I had to close that one. I didn't even get a chance to tell you. This right here is a closed syllable because it has, well, see, this one doesn't have any vowel under it. That's a good sign. It's got to be connected. This is a syllable, bat. Shabbat. Shabbat. You can just say it Shabbat if you would like to. Or of course they don't speak that slowly when they're actually speaking in Hebrew, but to learn it we're going to say it slowly. Shabbat. So you have an open syllable and a closed syllable. So let's practice with the 3 letters, the 3 consonants and the vowels that we learned today. And we're going to remember that you're always going to want to go from right to left in Hebrew. Now, it's very important when you are learning Hebrew to write a lot. So I want to show you some of the things I do. I have a simple composition notebook. You can get this at any simple store like Walmart or dollar store or anywhere. This one is a wide ruled because I'm learning. I'm just brand new. And so I want to, here, I'm going to show you that a little bit closer. Let me take that piece of paper out. Let me show you that just a little bit closer. So the wide rule gives you lots of space to write, just like if you were in kindergarten, you want lots of space to write. So here we're going to practice some of the things that we did, and we're going to write a whole line of each of these. So this is going to be part of your homework. So let's start with the sheen, and then I'm going to write, so I'm going to put sh, and then I'm going to do another one. I'm going to put a vowel under it. Sha. Sha. And I just keep repeating that. Sh, sha, and so on. Okay? So you can do a whole line of those. Now let's go to the other letter that you learned, which would be bait with a dagesh in the middle. You got to have that. So you're going to write b, ba, ba, and do it again. Just keep b, ba, ba. Okay? Then one last time for the tav that you learned today. Tav says t. Again, we're going to learn a lot more of those next week. T, ta, t, time. T, ta, ta. And write a whole line of each of those. Now, those were all open syllables, right? Because they were just a vowel with, or a consonant with a vowel underneath it. So that makes it an open syllable. Let's just make up words here. These are not real Hebrew words, but let's just make some closed syllables. We're going to make a whole bunch of lines of these. So the more practice you get writing, the more you're going to know these. So let's do this one. Let's do, what's that say? Shosh. So it's a fake word. All right, how about we could do one like this? Bob. How about tat, and those are all closed syllables. So make lots of lines. Practice. You could even mix it up. You could say tosh. Okay? We're not trying to make actual words. We're just trying to pretend and write and make open syllables and closed syllables and learn to pronounce each of them as you write them. And that's really the key of what you want to do today. Now I have one last homework assignment for you besides just writing outlines of these inside of a composition notebook. And that is to open up the Hebrew Tanakh and go to Genesis chapter 1 verse 1 and see if you can find all of the sheens, all of the baits, and all of the tavs in Genesis chapter 1. Just kind of scan down through it and see if you can find them. Now, how do you find a Hebrew Tanakh? Well, it's easy to find one online. You can find many different free ones, and I'm going to put some links to some of my favorites below the video. One of my absolute favorites on my phone is the Parallel Plus Bible, because it shows the different syllables in colors, and we're going to get into that a lot more in the upcoming lessons, but I just think that's a really great app. But you could also use the Blue Letter Bible or many other different apps. So if you happen to have a written Tanakh, that's awesome, but you don't have to, and that can cost a bit of money. So just to get started, I recommend going to an online resource like Parallel Plus. So I wanted to show you also before we leave today a couple other resources that I really like. So this is a really great book. Teach Yourself to Read Hebrew, and it's really, really simple, and anyone can learn to read Hebrew with this, because what it does is it uses English words like beat and top, like we were doing, and hot, to help you understand how to make the sounds, and this uses Sephardic Hebrew. This one is the continuation, the first Hebrew primer, and of course they have many and more in the series that you could keep learning, and this one will go into some more of the grammar, and really by the end of this I think you learn 200 words from the Hebrew Bible, and so it's just a great resource if you want to get lots of practice. And we'll go into more of the Aleph Beit in the lessons to come, but these are some great books. I Can Read Hebrew and the 10-Minute Hebrew Reader. These are fun to use even as a group, and these are available at foundationspress.com. And last but not least, if you really like to geek out, you can get the Basics of Biblical Hebrew Grammar, and it has a workbook that goes with. This is put out by Zondervan, and it's just really, really in-depth if you'd really like to go deep. None of those are necessary. If you just have a Hebrew Bible, you can just practice with your Hebrew Bible. And we'll talk more about ways that you can practice your Hebrew in upcoming lessons. Shalom, that means goodbye.